One of the ways that you describe your pregnancy too is so honest about that because it was
Yeah.
like it was a complicated realization that tell me about that moment.
Gosh. When Peter and I got married, the truth, right? We didn't talk about kids, actually. We really didn't. And I know
Yeah.
that's probably shocking, but we really didn't. And I think it was just an assumed thing.
Yeah.
I had my assumptions and he had his assumptions. It wasn't like I didn't want kids. I just didn't want them anytime soon. And I really didn't think I wanted a lot of them.
Yeah.
Um, and as I got into my career and, our relationship, I was kind of like, take it or leave it. It was just like, I wasn't pressed about it. And he really wanted kids. And so his assumption was like, oh, after like year one, here comes the baby. And I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe you're 10 or 12. Like, what the hell? But that's the thing is that like, I think sometimes, again, you're in in relationships and even when they're serious and even when you're in love, you're both over here making assumptions about these very core things that you never actually put real words and numbers to. Again, something that has changed me entirely, not just in my personal and romantic relationships, but at work, everywhere else. It's like we make these assumptions as if everybody's on the same page, and you are not on the same page. You're not. And it may feel like, it's uncomfortable to say these things and put times on things or numbers on things to make it tangible, but it will be a lifesaver later on. And we just did not have those conversations. And so in year 5, when he's like, so when are we having this baby? And I'm just like, oh, hell no. I'm not coming off the pill. I'm not. No, we're going to talk about that next year. How about next year we talk about it? And then here I go, pregnant. And I was devastated, sad. I couldn't believe it because it just felt like my world as I knew it was going to end. And again, I don't think we talk about this enough where it's like, look, on paper, it looked like everything was perfect, right? Why should I be sad about that? Here I am in a successful marriage, 5 years in. We lived on, a beautiful apartment overlooking Central Park in Manhattan. We both had amazing jobs, great careers. I was like on the rocket ship, so was he. Of course we should have a baby. Healthy, successful, exciting, great friends, great family support. Why wouldn't we have a baby?
Yeah.
And when I got pregnant, I couldn't say that to anybody. I couldn't tell anybody that I didn't think it was time, that I was afraid that this baby was going to come and ruin everything. Ruin my career, slow me down, change my body, maybe change our relationship. When would I have me time? I'd heard all these horror stories about not sleeping with a newborn. And I'm like, no, but I like my sleep. See, okay. Yes. All of the things. And so I was very scared and upset, but there was no one to tell that to. I couldn't even tell my own husband. Right. And that kind of pressure made me feel ashamed. It made me feel like there was something wrong with me as a woman because why didn't I have all those warm and fuzzy feelings? Why did I found out I was pregnant and then start screaming and crying and call my best friend? Why was I crying real tears of sorrow and didn't tell my mother for 2 weeks? It's like that kind of feeling. And so by the time I was well into my pregnancy and still kind of like resistant to it, but then going into a checkup and realizing that there's something wrong, everything shifted again. And then I had the feelings of shame because it was like, oh, but I didn't appreciate this. I thought everything was normal and fine. I didn't appreciate what I had as such a gift. And so perhaps it was punishment for my ingratitude. I just didn't know. I didn't know that pregnancy could be dangerous or scary or anything. Because again, we don't talk about it. It's you're just supposed to get the glow, right? It's glowing.
Yes, we get a full what to expect when you're expecting montage.
Oh my God, exactly. They didn't tell me that the glow was just swelling. They didn't tell me the glow was sweat. Uncontrollable. They didn't say anything about that. And so here I am, like, I can't even do this right. It was just it was a very difficult time. And by the time I was really in danger,
Yes.
both from a physical and health standpoint, and then also the threat to my pregnancy, I was just confused about how to feel. And I wish I knew then that all the things could be true at the same time, that you can be fearful and grateful at the same time, that you can have regret and also hope at the same time. I didn't know that could be true. So I thought I didn't have a right to feel protective over this life that I didn't want.
Yes.
I didn't know I had the right to do that. And I wish I had known that. I wish I could have embraced all of it. I wish I could have said, you know what? The last 5 months were terrible. You know what? But now I'm going to celebrate. Now I'm going to be okay. I didn't feel like I had the permission. And how terrible is it that, like, I couldn't even say that to anybody. Couldn't even articulate. So here I am arguing with myself in my own head about that.
And then to process a traumatic pregnancy and delivery and
Yes.
and a terrible loss with all the physical reminders that you're.
That's right. Because, at the end of my pregnancy, I had to deliver my daughter early because I developed preeclampsia very early, severe. And while on the delivery table and just fighting with everything that I had in me, the realization of my complete failure was devastating. I just felt like, wow, like I didn't even have that natural maternal instinct to begin with. And then when I did realize that I wanted to protect this child, I can't even do that. Like that, the devastation of that. And then on top of the grief of actually losing her. So it's not just psychological, but the physical.
Yes.
And then, in the weeks following, with having to deal with engorged breasts, that then the milk came, but no baby, or like healing. And I'm sure there's some I haven't looked into this, but I'm sure there's some sort of biological, like the endorphins and things that happen to help your body heal, that just weren't happening for me. And so all of that complicated feeling was also sitting aside my hope for the future. My hope that, like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to do this. I want a baby. Now I'm ready. And I want to go for it again. And then there's like a fighting spirit to make it happen. All of those things at the same time was devastating.
Yeah. The fact that you chose the word failure as opposed to tragedy, like, is such an insider view of this, like, terrible math that we do when we suffer, just to like transform these tragedies into. I remember that feeling so intensely, like I have failed. I have failed. I am not. Terrible things are happening, and I am not in control of this. This must be, and then dot.
Yeah. But but you're so right, because we do that over everything. It's like,
yes,
it's like tornado come hit your house. You'd be like, damn it, I failed at keeping my house.
Exactly. I shouldn't have turned on the blow dryer. It's made all this wind.
Exactly. Right. And it's like, yes, we can laugh about that. And at the same time, you and I could probably sit here and compare notes about so many situations where you would tell me and I'd be like, oh, come on, girl, that was not your fault.
Yes.
Or you'd sit there and be like, Boz, come on, like, you really, like, this was preeclampsia. You really could not have done anything to, be different. And I'm like, nah, girl, in fact, eating that extra garlic, which, by the way, my mother-in-law did make me eat garlic the rest of my next pregnancy.
Stop.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It's the most Italian solution ever. I
Oh my,
love it.
right. And it had to be roasted too.
All right. I guess, I guess
I would have
this
wanted.
is my life now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And she swears by it, by the way. She's like, see, I told you. Of course, because when my daughter was born, she's like, well, if he hadn't eaten the garlic.
Exactly.
You're right. You're right. Let me give her that one. I'll give it to her.